You've probably heard the phrase, hey man, follow your heart. What about going through an area or a period in life where it doesn't seem like there's a clear way path forward? How can you follow your heart and face uncertainty and still maintain confidence? Come on, my friend, we're going to dig into this soil together. Welcome to you once again, my friend. I am D. Grant Smith, the growth farmer for personal development through the lens of spirituality and storytelling. Here on this channel, we do a lot of really cool stuff, including talk about the journey into becoming the best version of ourselves, which in the spiritual community also involves a lot of cool stuff like personal development, self love, manifestation, self concept, and a whole lot more. We explore teachers like Neville Goddard, Neil Donald Walsh, Joe Dispenza, Wayne Dyer, Abraham Hicks, a whole bunch of people. We talk about all kinds of awesome stuff. If you want to get even more from me, more than what I offer for you here through these teachings and these short story exhibitions here on this YouTube channel, I invite you to join me at my website, which is growthfarming.com. On the channel, and on the platform of growth farming is a ton of amazing resources to inspire, educate, enlighten, and empower you in not only becoming the best version of yourself, but fully stepping into what it is that you want to experience in your life, making your dreams come true, and above all, really harmonizing and connecting you with the divine that already lives within you. And also on the platform is a growing and vibrant, amazing community of people who are like us in this process of becoming the best version of ourselves. And we harmonize ourselves together, have regular conversations, interactions, workshops, trainings, and a whole lot more. Once again, all of it is available at growthfarming.com. So today, we're going to learn about and talk about what it means to follow our heart, even in the face of uncertainty, and doing so with confidence. Have you ever felt like you've been pulled into an area of unknown territory? Or maybe you found yourself in moments of complete and total uncertainty, not knowing what to do, where to go, or how you're supposed to deal with what's going on. In these times, it can be really easy for us to shrink back and maybe even go back into coping mechanisms or old patterns just to feel safe. It's all a part of what can happen in life when the absolute unexpected takes place. But what if the uncertain or the unexpected and or the unknown isn't a mistake? What if it is exactly where you are supposed to be and what you're supposed to move into right at that time? Logic and reason have a hard time with this because logic and reason only understand what is known. The mind has a really hard time with what is unknown because it simply isn't logical. The mind, because it deals with the known and what can be measured and studied, that's where it bases its understanding from. So what the mind doesn't know, it tries to figure out. And I always put figure out in finger quotes because we don't actually figure out a whole lot. We relearn, we remember, and we gather in the necessary components to be able to move forward even in the face of unknown and uncertain times. When the mind's trying to figure all these things out, usually it's going through past methods or what we've seen other people say worked for them. Or the mind tries to come up with the solution, the answer to this perceived problem, so that the mind still feels like it's in control of the whole game of life. And this is one reason why many of us are drawn to success stories. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because what success stories show is they reveal that our problems can actually be solved because somebody else did it. So therefore, it's not impossible. But what about the unknown? What about the stuff that you and I face that no matter how far we look or how deep we dig into what other people are talking about, we can't seem to find something that mirrors what it is that we're going through. So we have that feeling of possibility or that feeling of confidence that we can get through it too. Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting because the mind at this point goes into fear mode with the unknown because it can't be in control of how things actually work. The outcome, being uncertain, therefore becomes untrustworthy, at least to our conscious or egoic mind. And so reason tells us, yeah, I don't know about this. We can't really do this. But guess what? This is what I'm learning from amazing authors like Neil Donald Walsh in Conversations with God, which I keep referencing over and over again. It's also a big part of the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Neville Goddard. It's actually the innermost part of us, our soul, that wants us to go into the unknown. The soul actually yearns for the unknown, for the potential of discovery and exploration. The soul the soul wants to experience itself and know itself as all that is, aka God. And that's something that I talk about in one of my previous videos, which I'll link above and also put a link down below. Here's something that I found really, really beautiful from reading Conversations with God. And just to be super specific, this is in chapter 3 of that book. God is answering one of Neil's questions, and God says, "What is God's desire? I desire first to know and experience myself in all of my glory, to know who I am. Before I invented you and all the worlds of the universe, it was impossible for me to do so. I desire that you shall know and experience who you really are, all through the power I have given you to create and experience yourself in whatever way you choose." Now, once again, that's God's response to Neil asking a question, when is my life going to take off? And God basically says, hey man, I'm here to experience everything. And I get to experience everything through you, because as I experience everything through you, I get to know who I really am. The soul is our connection to God, the holy, spiritual, divine link that is the peace of God that each one of us are, guiding and directing our lives in every single moment. Yet until we awaken to the spiritual journey that we're on, we live from our mind's understanding of ourselves and everything around us. We come into this life as beings who have forgotten who we really are, our true connection to the divine. And it's through our lives and our experiences, especially in the stuff that involves the unknown, that the soul remembers itself as a piece of all that is, which leads us to all sorts of unexpected, unknown, and uncertain experiences, just so our soul can rediscover itself and we can remember who we really are. Let me ask you this question. Do you love it, absolutely love it, when really difficult challenges show up? Probably not, because you're probably human. And most of us, humans, tend to think that challenges are things that we need to try to avoid. It's interesting because we think that some people have really strong mindsets and mental games and that they are the ones that can handle challenges. And maybe that's why we feel like they welcome those challenges. But what if being open to challenge isn't just a matter of having a strong mindset? Similar to what I described in one of my previous videos about having a successful prayer life isn't just a matter of having a positive mindset either. The heart loves challenges, and the heart loves new opportunities for the soul to discover itself. Challenges present opportunities to conquer the unknown and the fear that often blocks our pathway forward. But the heart is love, and love cancels fear. Guess where fear lives? Right up here, in the mind. If the mind is running the show of our lives, if it's leading the way, if it's the main force governing our decision making, the mind has influence over the heart. Heart then can shrink back from challenges and not be as willing to go into what seems to be unknown, uncertain, dangerous territory, where actually glorious opportunities await us. This is where the soul silently longs to plunge itself in. Let's dig into a little bit of theology / scripture for a moment. And it doesn't really matter what your religious beliefs are. I'm not trying to put any sort of dogma in you. But I do want to bring up a biblical story and shine a different kind of light and perspective on it for you in this capacity. What was it really that made the character of David in the Bible so special? Think about this for a second. He's a kid. Samuel comes into town, meets with his dad, and says, "Hey, I'm here to anoint the new king." "Cool, let me bring you my son." Starts with the oldest. Samuel goes, "Nope." Okay, next one. Brings him in. "Nope." Goes through all 6 of his oldest sons, for Jesse anyways, and Samuel goes, "Nope. Surely you got somebody else around here." And the brothers are going, "The only one left is David, and he's the runt kid out in the fields doing what runt kids do because he's not good for anything else." So, what happens? They go get David. David comes in. Moment Samuel sees David, boom, yep, that's him. What was it that made David someone that God had selected to be king when he didn't have all of the criteria and credentials and everything else that would seem to be king making material? It's interesting because the mind has a hard time with this kind of understanding, just like David's brothers did. It didn't make any sense. He's too young, he's too inexperienced, he's too immature. He has nothing really to offer. He's too little to be king. That's what his brothers reasoned. And there it is. The mind can't understand the mystery because it doesn't add up using logic. But guess what? David wasn't a very logical person, as was told all throughout his story. One day, later in the story that's told in 1 Samuel, David's going to visit his brothers, going to bring him some food. And what does he see? Not too far off on a hill is this giant dude shouting obscenities about his people and insulting them in every single way and decreeing this giant person's dominance over them. And close to the road, not far from the hill, are all the tents where all the armies of Israel are. What are all the men doing inside the tents? They're all shaking in their little boots, fearful for their lives, and absolutely positive that this giant and his army are going to kill all of them. They saw the giant's size. They saw his strength, they saw his power, they saw his fierceness, they saw his armor, they saw his gigantic 8-foot long sword. And they decided that none of them were up to match him. But, interestingly enough, what does the little kid who doesn't have what it takes to be king do? I'm paraphrasing this, not exactly the way that it's worded in scripture. But basically, David looks at the giant on the hill, known as Goliath, and goes, "Who does this a-hole think that he is? Who does he think that he's talking about? Why is nobody doing anything about this?" Okay, well, guess what? I'll go take care of it. David wasn't a man after God's own mind, was he? Nope. He was a man after God's own heart. The love that is of God is the heart center. The heart is the love center as well. And when it comes to divine source, aka God, there's absolutely no fear there. All things are possible. The heart, like David, runs into challenge and says, "I got this." When fear comes knocking, as it does in all of our lives, ask your heart how it thinks and how it feels. And check in with your soul and see what it has to say. Because that fear might actually be hiding a blessing, pointing you into the direction of an opportunity for your next expansion. And the uncertainty might actually be your soul wanting to take you into the unknown so that you can know how great and awesome you actually are. There is a lion inside of you that is waiting to be awakened and stepped fully into its power. If you've been hiding yourself, unsure and fearful about the unknown and the uncertainties of life, allow this to be an opportunity for your heart to come alive in a new way. If you want some help into this process, I put together this really cool training called Confidence Like a Lion. And inside that, it will show you how to awaken the lion within you so that you can take on not only the uncertainties and the unknowns, but face every giant in your path. Hey, I appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with somebody to encourage, bless, and empower them to follow their heart, just like you and I are. Hey, I believe in you. I love you, and I'll see you again soon.